Here I have my Eve Ion plane that I'm going to be testing to make sure that everything works. Before we make our flight to Eve, I'm going to have a lander and a couple planes. I'm going to send the planes down to scout out good flat landing surface, because the main lander is going to be relatively large, so we want to find a good place for us to land. These are going to be unmanned planes, but they have a command seat on them. Right now here I got a Kerbal on here. I don't know his name, but so right now what I'm doing is lowering my upwaps so that on the sunny side of Eve, so that we have the sun to keep our solar panels charging our batteries, so that our ion engines stay fully charged, and just lowering it enough that we're going to aero brake inside of Eve. I don't want to go too fast and waste too much of our energy since we're on the dark side anyway. Just turn on my helmet headlights there. So I'm just going to speed up so we can get ourselves around. Sorry, I don't really know how to make it speed up the video, so this is kind of long. So maybe in the future, if people like watching this video, then maybe I'll make more or something like that, if anybody have any ideas. This game is so beautiful. I've got some mods, mostly for visuals, interstellar pack and stuff like that, although it does make it really hard to find if you're going to be where you're landing or anything like that, because you can't see anything through the clouds when you're looking at the planets. But that's fine, I don't mind. That's why I send these little planes down, so I can mark good landing spots beforehand. I've done Eve return missions before, and the last time I went I sent a rover beforehand, and it didn't work out too well, so I figured I will send a plane and use ion engines, because we have lots of light and they're very efficient. We can make really light planes this way. Of course, we have no atmosphere, so we can't use jet engines or anything like that. It's got some beautiful flames going on there from the friction of our high speed descent. Although the atmosphere is very thick once you get lower, so it takes quite a while to get down to the surface. Tested the plane on Kerbin a couple times, and it flies pretty good on Kerbin as well, but I wouldn't want to go anywhere far with it because it's quite slow, and it's only doing like 30 to 50 meters per second, so it doesn't really go very fast, so I wouldn't want to go very far. Although it does a weird twitchy thing when you turn on I don't know, letter T or whatever that is, to help stabilize the plane. It starts jittering all over the place, and although it speeds up the plane, it makes it hard to control. I sometimes use that to speed across to get somewhere, but it's hard to control. And it only seems to do it in the lower atmosphere of Eve. When I have the stability on at the higher atmospheres, it doesn't really seem to jitter as much, but once I get lower down, it does. I think Eve's one of the more prettier planets, although it's definitely one of the more deadlier ones to land and try and get back from. Requires a lot of energy to get back up from, as we all know. And the fun part is trying to land at sea level and then try and get back. I haven't found that mountain where someone says, I think it's around 10,000 or something like that, so it makes it easier to take off from, but maybe one day I'll send a plane and find it. But for now, I just like to do is get down, find near the shores, because those tend to be the flatter areas, and so you can see I'm kind of aiming for what I think is the shore, but who knows, it could be it's just clouds for all I know. Textures kind of load at different rates, so sometimes the clouds, like you can see here, there's a patch of clouds that are looking more realistic than the clouds around it, so I think they're loading at different rates. The descent here actually takes quite a while, so I decided to turn on my ion engines to speed my descent up, because it's just so thick you don't really fall very fast. So Eve is one of the easier planets to get to. It doesn't require very much delta V to get to, so you can fly to Eve with quite ease, and then use the atmosphere to aerobrake, and then land on the moon Gilly, I believe, is circulating Eve, and it has a very, very low gravity, so it doesn't require very much to land on that, and then get back to Kerbin from there. I think I definitely recommend going to Gilly early on in the game, and that and Duna. Here we go. Now the clouds are really starting to load, and it's quite nice. I have two GTX 770s, 2GB versions, running an SLI, although the game doesn't take advantage of the second graphics card, so just using the one card. And you can see on the bottom left corner that the frame rate is like 12 right now. Although I'm using light cam for the first time, I've never used it. I was trying to use shadow play, but it doesn't seem to be working for Kerbal Space Program, so I had to scrap that. Usually I'm getting much higher frame rates when I'm using shadow play, 30 or more for most of the time. So I think light cam is using a lot of resources to record the video. I play the game in 1440p. I'm using a Apple Cinema display to play the game on. It's very beautiful. It comes through very nice, and I like to turn all the details up all the way. At this point, I'm just straight down into the clouds, and I have no idea where land is. And I just kind of start pulling up, thinking, maybe I don't want to be flying straight down at this point. You know, I start seeing some rocks, so I go, okay, all right, here we go. Here goes my landing gear. And since I don't have the stability on, the plane wants to nosedive quite a bit, so I got to pull up, but I don't want to pull too much because I want to keep descending, so that's why it's a bit jerky there. I don't really like it. But you'll see in a second here, I'll turn on the stability control, and the plane kind of just gets a little jittery just for a second, though. I think it's coming up here and looking for a suitable place to land. Turn off the engines. And there we go, touchdown. And just cut to another scene where I'm kind of cruising around, and I want to go check to see how takeoff is. And it takes off pretty easy, although you don't really have too much speed, so kind of decided to head down. Let's go see some water. I got the front wheel there on an angle. It makes it really good for when you hit the brakes, because then it doesn't want to flip over or anything like that. It's very silly. I've landed full speed and hit the brakes, and it hasn't wanted to flip over at all, so that's really nice. So it's a good idea. I thought the little plane, just to give that front wheel a little tilt there. That way it keeps the nose from trying to flip over. Eve would be so much easier to fly around if it had an atmosphere where there was oxygen, and we could use jet engines, but at least we got ion engines. Nice little landing. I decided, I'll just drive down. Might as well, almost like a rover. Looks like I was going a little too fast there, and I don't know what the key command for brake is, so I pulled up the display. Like, again, apologize for the video being as long. That's why I kind of put over some commentary. Generally, I just maybe put some like writing over top, kind of explaining each step. I figured if I talked over it, maybe you guys be a little entertained and watch a little longer. It's quite long for a YouTube video. But anyway, here I go, just cruising down. It's a very stable plane. You can full throttle down a hill and it doesn't want to tip or anything like that. I got the wheels on a bit of an angle. Maybe that on the back's tipped in, or tipped out rather. Maybe that helps it keep a little more stable. Just head to the beach. And maybe get some of those nice Eve suntan. There we go, and that's that. And our little test there.